Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well in your first week of mini-mester and trying to stay warm with these frigid conditions. This is your Unit 1 midweek update, and as we go through the following slides, it's just a reminder of what's coming up as far as due dates, a couple applications as far as what we're learning in this course and how it applies to what's going on outside of the course, and maybe give you some ideas for what to look at as you start to think about your photo essay assignment. Just a reminder of what's coming up. Today is the add drop deadline. So if you decide that the class isn't going to work out in the mini-mester, today is the day you want to drop. If you drop today, you get a full refund and the course also doesn't show up on your transcript. If you remain in the course, there is a second withdraw deadline later on that I'll send a reminder out. Again, I hope this isn't the case for people, but that awareness today that the class may not work out, make sure that you do take action before the end of the calendar day. Just an update on the daily chapter quizzes that are going to run through the next few days. I've been looking over, most of you have finished the chapter 1 quiz and the results are good so far, and that's what I want to see. Again, the quizzes should not be the most difficult part of this class. You're going through the chapter and you're taking the direct words from the chapter and applying them to those questions. So it's really just a reading comprehension and recognition kind of exercise. Now the exam, which is going to be available Sunday night, that is going to be more rigorous. Now as far as exam prep, make sure that you're going through the recorded lectures, make sure that you're completing the study guide. The exam is similar to an exam that you would need to take in a classroom setting. You need to be prepared. Yes, it's open book. Yes, it's open note. You will have access to online resources, but you need to be prepared. It's more than simply finding answers at the exam level. The photo essay assignment is due Sunday night. Again, I posted some ideas on the instructions, but you could use whatever you'd like, whatever topic you find most interesting. Just make sure that the topic reflects critical thinking, reflects a challenge, reflects your contributions to the idea. Again, the photo essay, it's up to you. Be creative. Make sure you're using academic sources. I would like to see your opinion, but your opinion needs to be supported. No just ideas, no opinions thrown around that aren't supported. If you have any questions about anything coming up, please email me. Today is the Perihelion. It probably doesn't feel like it. It's those of you who've begun chapter 2, this term perihelion should be familiar. Perihelion is the day within the Earth's revolution around the sun that we're closest. As you can see on this figure here, we're about 3 million miles closer to the sun today than we are on the 4th of July. Now, obviously, this should reinforce the idea that Earth's temperature, our seasons here in the Northern Hemisphere, are not related to distance to the sun. In the next couple of days, we're going to dip down close to 0, which might seem a little bit surprising considering our distance to the sun this time of year. Many of you have probably looked ahead to see what we have in store for us as far as weather goes. A couple figures here on this image. On the bottom left, we have the hourly temperature and wind for Friday AM. And on the right, we have a map produced by NOAA that shows us the low pressure system that we have running up the East Coast. Now, as you can see, these red arrows, they're identifying the wind direction. So as this low moves up the coast, this colder, more dense, high pressure air is going to funnel into that low. So over here on our hourly chart, you can see our wind direction, which is northwest, west-northwest throughout that part of Friday, indicates that the high pressure is driving into that low pressure cell. Again, keep in mind, high to low. Air moves from high to low, and we're really going to experience this over the next couple of days. This low pressure trough, or this low pressure cell that's moving up the coast, is similar to the low pressure cell that we experience during hurricane season when that system moves up the coast. So this system formed down near the tropics, and now it's moving up the coast. So that air mass is very That air mass contains very low air pressure, which serves as almost like a drain, pulling that cold, dry, dense air from the continental interior towards the coast. So as we go through the next couple days, we're going to feel the temperatures drop. We're going to feel that cold, dry air come down from the west-northwest, and we're going to experience a pretty significant change. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if this low pressure cell moves westward, which there's a lower probability it may do, we may get hit with a pretty good storm. Now, if you're on the eastern shore, the Delmarva Peninsula, eastern Pennsylvania around Philadelphia or Delaware, you'll likely get a couple inches of snow. But again, if this thing tracks west a little bit, then we're going to see potentially a few inches around Towson. Again, that's probably unlikely, but it's something to keep an eye on. And lastly, I did an experiment the other day just with a bottle of water. So on over the weekend, the temperatures were pretty low. And as you can see here on the left, at around 8:30 a.m., I filled up a liter bottle of water, liter and a half bottle of water, about halfway. And you can see the lower sun angle in the southwest here just in the distance. At 10:30, I went out and checked on it, and the cold temperatures caused most of that water to freeze. And what I want you to see here is the left side of this bottle kind of indented a little bit. And then here is about the third image of the bottle is about 2:30, and you can see that that dent is further magnified. It's a little more intense. The water's pretty much solidified at this point. And then this picture on the far right shows the same bottle of water at around 5:30, 6 o'clock. After I brought it back inside and let the water thaw, you can see that the container expanded. So what we're looking at here is a progression of water freezing. Okay, and we're going to look more at water freezing and some of those properties in Unit 2. But as you can see, the water level actually rises a little bit as water expands as it freezes. But what I want you to focus on here, and this is the type of experiment that you could do, that cold air is more dense than warm air. So as that air cools, it contracts. And as that air contracts, it pulls the bottle in with it. So there's higher air pressure within that bottle because that air is so cold than when we started out at 8:30 in the morning. And I include the Weather Underground just daily chart up here to show how cold it was that day, and that water, even though it has a relatively high heat capacity, will freeze, especially at 20 ounces or so. So I hope that these examples here help you kind of put some thoughts together of how you want to approach your Unit 1 photo essay. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. For those of you who started out well in Chapter 1 and a few of you have already moved on to additional chapters, keep up the good work. Again, time management is critical in this course, so stay on top of it. Make sure you're prepared for the deadlines, and don't wait for this weekend to start preparing for the exam. It should be an ongoing process. Remember, read, take notes, review the lecture slides, and do the study guide. So it's you're getting exposed to these ideas, these concepts, and repeatedly over a week. Again, we move quickly. One day during mini-mester is essentially a week during a full-term 15-week semester, so keep that in mind. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Best time to reach me is between 10 a.m. and noon each weekday, although I generally replying to emails until at least 9 o'clock at night. So again, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, keep up the good work, and good luck as you move through the rest of the week.